I am concerned that Bobby had not slept over a period of several days, as he indicated to me, and that he was obviously in a good deal of distress.
Well, there's no doubt the Carolina community has been left in distress, too. Cremins was supposedly the savior for USC basketball to bring the excitement back that the program had under Cremins' former coach, Frank McGuire. So now the search continues.
Those of you who talked to me realize that we were looking at a pool of candidates, all of whom we thought could successfully bring the championship-type program back to this university.
So Bobby Cremins won't be the one, but McGee will find a replacement, and it will no doubt be one of very high standards.
This is a great university that has great fans and supporters. It deserves the best, and by God, we're going to see that it gets the best.
So that car went to victory lane. Dale Earnhardt with a victory. But the three guys next to him, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, and Mark Martin, finished very strong at the Trans-South 500, and that's where it counts for the Winston Cup points title.
We got a good car, good team, everything's going good. Been saying that all year, and people are starting to notice it, I think.
And a second-place finish for Martin will get him noticed. He's moved into 5th place in the Winston Cup point standings. Rusty Wallace finished 5th, and that helped him move into a tie for 2nd in points.
If I just keep staying consistent, I can win the title, you know. I'm 2nd right now, and that's what it takes. He pulled a little bit on me today, but like I say, at one point I thought I had him when we both went a lap down, and I put about an 8-second lead on him there. But he ran good. He's been congratulated, and I got a 5th out of it, and top 5 sound better than top 10s.
Dale Jarrett started the day 4th in points. A 3rd-place finish at Darlington kept him there.
It's gone well, you know. Other than the deal last week at Atlanta, we'd be right here in good shape. We're still in good shape, you know. We've got, I think, 3 top 5 finishes out of the 5 races, and you know, we're headed in the right direction.
I think it was, you know, it's all just consistency. I don't think it, you know, it's just every race you got to stay after it. And our guys did a great job last week, I think, of getting back out there after we tore the car up and got us back a bunch of points when it comes to the overall points race. So we're excited about where we are.
Able to go on and finish it out, and you know, we didn't have the fastest car, but as the day went on, or as it went on in a run, we could kind of hold our own. So that's the difference in a year, and me learning and Jimmy and I working together.
In Darlington, Ken Slats, 15 Sports. He stands 6'7", weighs 220. His greatest accomplishment, well, he's been the conference MVP the last 4 years. But it takes a lot more than that for him to reach his ultimate goal.
Tony's a great competitor, and you know, that takes a lot of people a long ways. They know that he's a winner, and knows that if he does have a weakness, that he will work very hard to improve on it. And Tony's always been able to work on his weaknesses and to take his game to another level depending on who he's playing. And
all right, this has been the basketball home of Tony Duncan for the past 4 years. This weekend, he'll be in a bigger place, much more glitz and glamour in New Orleans, and he'll be trying to prove that he belongs in the NBA.
I'm always confident in my abilities and things I can do. All I want is a chance to play. You know, if I get a chance, I'll pretty much do the rest on my own.
Most NBA teams know about Tony already. What they'll be used for is to enhance his stock some. If you had to ask me right now, I'd say Tony is a mid-second round pick, possibly early 2nd round.
New Orleans, Sunday. A good time for Tony to show off for the NBA scouts.
Well, I think that they know about Tony Duncan already. I'm sure they've watched me. I'm sure they've seen me before. Just to know that just let them know I'm in the house, you know, that's good enough for me.
In Conway, Ken Slats, 15 Sports. For Alan Kowicki, Sunday was business as usual at the Trans-South 500, but Thursday night's tragedy would make that 6th place finish trivial for number 7.
That's the kind of news you don't want to ever hear about anybody that you know, especially a good friend like Alan Kowicki. Very, very deeply saddened by what happened. When you think about Alan Kowicki, you think about someone who was up to any challenge that confronted him. He was one that would, anything that he wanted to do, I don't think that he ever doubted in his mind that he could accomplish it.
He was quiet, easygoing, and very intelligent. As I said, had a lot of skills at whatever he did. He was an engineer and a good one, and a good race driver. And it's going to be a big loss to the racing community.
Down the road, NASCAR fans will probably forget that this place, Darlington International Raceway, was the last place Alan Kowicki ever raced. But friends and people who knew him well will never forget.
Right before he crawled in the race car, we were doing pre-race introduction Sunday, and he came up on the stage and he just jumped into his uniform, and he told me, he said, "You got another uniform?" He said, "This one just isn't fitting right." And I guess that will always stick out in my mind because that's the last time that I saw him.
Ken Slats, 15 Sports.
Coach Fogler is committed to excellence, both on the court and in the classroom. He's a person of integrity and has an outstanding academic reputation. It is my very great pleasure to introduce to you the head basketball coach at the University of South Carolina, Coach Eddie Fogler.
Fogler comes from Vanderbilt University, where he led the Commodores to the Sweet 16 this year. He was also named 1993 AP Coach of the Year. At USC, however, no promises were immediately made.
I don't know how many we'll win next year. I honestly don't. But I'll tell you, we'll put out a product you'll be proud of, and I hope those stands will be filled when we come to play, when we start our season in late November, early December.
Fogler will be receiving an estimated $500,000 annually for 5 years. The only rebuilding at USC he won't have to do is in his staff.
Rick Callahan, who's been with me my 7 years as a head coach, 3 Wichita State, 4 at Vanderbilt. Neil Doherty, who's been with me my 4 years at Vanderbilt. And Jeff Lebo, who was the outstanding guard at North Carolina, who's just finished his first year at Vanderbilt. All will be coming.
The important point, Fogler is committed to staying and did express that in his sense of humor.
Made the right decision. Are you 100% committed? No questions asked about being here.
You on drugs?
These 8 Canadian businessmen played golf today with this guy, Lee Trevino, and he was the ultimate birthday present for Frank Lehman.
They say the man has everything. You can't buy him a present. So his friends got together and called my manager and says, we'd like to hire Lee Trevino for a day to come and have dinner and play 18 holes with his friends from Canada.
He is the funniest, the most enjoyable person I've ever played golf with. He is funny. He's a barrel of fun all day.
You couldn't have got a better golfer to be a birthday present. Lee Trevino is one of the most liked, witty, and funny guys on the tour. He's been that way his whole life, and there's a very good reason for that. This game is his passion.
I just like to play, and where I win, and if I lose, I lose. But I just having a love affair with the game. I think I can only name one other player I think that loves the game as much as I do, and that's Arnold Palmer. And he may love it more than I. I mean, I play every day. Every single day I play.
And the Grand Strand would love to have him here to play.
We'd certainly love to have a senior tournament up here if you could get a date. The problem is we have 43 tournaments now, and to get a date would really be difficult. Carolinas have a lot of great golf courses, not only South Carolina, but also North Carolina. I mean, this is the mecca of golf down here.
At the Willbrook Plantation in Litchfield, Ken Slats, 15 Sports.
Go ahead.
His name, Rodney Rogers. No, not that Rodney Rogers, that Rodney Rogers. Yep, that same mistake has happened before.
Quite a few times. I go up to the plate with the lineup before games, and I've had a lot of umpires question me about that and kid me about it. Pretty neat.
Well, the Patriots' Rodney Rogers has put up some impressive numbers on the baseball diamond, including 32 RBIs.
I'm not a home run hitter. Thus far this year, I've had about 8 dongs, but I'm not really looking forward to hitting the big ball every game. Contact hitters is what coach is looking for out of me.
He's hitting for power this time. He's driving in runs. He's bunting. He's playing good defense. So he's just a complete baseball player right now.
What's the one strongest part of his game?
Well, I guess hitting right now, being able to get on base for us, hitting out of second spot, dropping the bunt down third, and driving in the runs, and then getting the key base hit.
Rodney pitches in with the key base hits, but knows that the team concept is what wins ball games.
We got a lot of team players, contribution from all the way down the lineup from 1 through 9. Everybody's hitting the ball well, with peaking at just the right time, having a great time, having a lot of fun.
In Florence, Ken Slats, 15 Sports. Shaping up the sand traps, planting flowers, and painting fences are just a few of the remaining projects to be done before the tournament. The only outside help is from a company called Sports America, contracted to install bleachers and tents. Say these bleachers right here, how many of them do you need to set up at this tournament?
Just 4 sets for this tournament.
How many people does that seat?
It's going to seat about 500 people totally.
Many hours have already been put in. The obvious goal, to have the Country Club of South Carolina in its best possible condition.
We've done a lot of preparation. In the last 2 weeks, we've done a lot of landscaping, which has helped tremendously on the golf course. This golf course is known for being real wide open, almost kind of Scottish links style. So
the greens, golf course is in excellent condition, so it's just kind of manicure and keep it where it is right now. We'll be in good shape.
The course conditions here at the Country Club of South Carolina are great. It's very green out there. It's not too dry and it's not too wet. If the weather conditions stay about the same as they are now, there should be some great scores at the tournament.
With the caliber of player coming in on this tour, a good golf course is going to produce tremendous scores. There's 138 guys playing. Out of that, there's going to be a certain percentage on their game. The guys that are on their game should be able to shoot some numbers with the condition of the course.
We're in real good shape. I think we're tournament ready right now.
In Florence, Ken Slats, 15 Sports. In 4.5 months, the Clemson Tigers will kick off the season against UNLV. The team's newest coach has already been hard at work, especially at spring practice, installing the Tigers' new offense.
We put it in early, got work on it, found out who our players were. I think the biggest thing we accomplished was trying to find out who the quarterbacks were going to be.
Anything we're trying to do, we're trying to get the best quarterback, number one. Then number two, certainly if Richard's not the number one quarterback, then we would give him every opportunity to maybe be at a place where he could play a lot more than being a backup. And at the same time, we've got some other good young quarterbacks who probably need a lot of work too.
Patrick Sapp will probably be the team starter at quarterback. Number 2 on the depth chart is Lewis Solomon, and the fight for number 3 is between freshman Dexter McCleon and senior Richard Moncrief. The team starter at the beginning of last season might be at a new position.
Richard worked, around in different groups, but like in the spring game, Richard went out to wide receiver and made a heck of a catch out there. So that might be where you'll wind up.
I think the key to our offense is some quarterbacks to be play consistent football for us. That'll be the real key for us to be good there.
Ken Slats reporting, 15 Sports.
I think the organization did a real good job of bringing in a lot of talent in here. It was very aggressive in the draft, and Dell Curry and myself have been here since day one, as I mentioned, and they surround us with a lot of talent.
Haven't struggled really the first 3 years, improved a little bit last year, and now we're getting to share some success of hard work and sweat and blood that we left on the court the first 4 years of the franchise finally paying off.
All we have to worry about now is the Charlotte Hornets. We don't have to worry about anybody else now. We don't have to look at the papers and check the standings anymore. We know we're in.
There's no doubt the Charlotte Hornets are in the playoffs for the first time ever, but the team still has 2 games remaining, and the biggie Friday night right here against the Chicago Bulls.
At this point, we don't want to go and fold down for anybody right now. I mean, we're playing well. We want to continue to play well.
The Friday night game's certainly going to be tough. Chicago's trying to play for the best record in the East. They've got something on the line, and it could be a preview of playing Chicago. So, hey, we want to continue to play well.
The Hornets have won 3 in a row, and the last, a playoff clincher, was especially sweet for those who have been through it all.
Just to be a part of it makes me feel good, and I'm so happy for the guys who've labored and the coaches and the the organization. It's a special night for the team, and I'm just glad to be a Hornet tonight.
In Charlotte, Ken Slats, 15 Sports.